My name is Daniel. I'm 32, and until recently I believed my life was steady, predictable, and almost painfully normal. I thought predictability was safety. I thought routine was peace. I thought that loving someone with quiet consistency was enough to build a future. For years, it felt like it was. I lived in a small apartment near downtown, worked long shifts at a logistics firm, and came home every evening to Emma, my wife, my anchor, my illusion of stability. I didn't question anything. I didn't look for cracks. I didn't want to see what was already changing slowly, subtly, in ways I didn't recognize until it was already too late. Maybe the first sign was how she started staying late at work. She'd always been driven, dedicated, the kind of woman who couldn't walk past a problem without trying to fix it. So, when she came home at midnight, exhausted, still humming with stress, I didn't doubt her. I held her, kissed her forehead, told her it would get better. I didn't see how distant she had become, how her smile no longer reached her eyes, how she stopped leaning into my touch. I ignored the tension because I trusted her completely. That was my mistake. But the moment everything changed, the moment that forced me to face reality, didn't start with suspicion. It started with something much smaller, something embarrassingly stupid. It was a Saturday morning. The sun was pouring into the apartment, the kind of bright gold that makes even dusty furniture look warm and alive. She stood near the kitchen counter, scrolling her phone, barely acknowledging my presence. I tried to wrap my arms around her from behind, something I'd done 100 times, something she once loved. Instead, she stiffened and jerked away like my touch burned her. "Don't," she snapped. "Not now." I froze, my hand suspended in the air. "Emma, what's wrong?" She exhaled sharply, as if I had annoyed her, as if my attempt at affection was some kind of intrusion. "You don't always have to touch me, Daniel. I'm not a piece of furniture you have to check every 5 minutes. The tone pierced deeper than the words. Cold, impatient, irritated. I tried to laugh it off, to lighten the tension. "I was just trying to, just don't," she repeated, moving away. "I need space." I stood there for several seconds, watching her shoulders rise and fall as she poured herself coffee. She didn't look back at me, didn't apologize, didn't explain. It was just another moment in a growing list of moments where I felt like I was losing her inch by inch, but I still didn't suspect anything. Not yet. The real shift happened the following week, when she started guarding her phone like it contained nuclear launch codes. She used to leave it anywhere, on the couch, on the nightstand, plugged into a charger in the kitchen. Now she carried it everywhere, even to the bathroom. If a notification popped up, she turned the screen down. If I walked into the room while she was using it, she'd instantly lock it. Still, I told myself it was stress, overwork, anxiety, anything but betrayal. The beginning of the end came on a Tuesday night, 3 days before I learned the truth. She walked into the apartment late again. But this time, instead of exhausted, she looked glowing. Her cheeks flushed, her hair messy in a way that didn't look accidental, her lips slightly swollen. She didn't notice my stare. "Long day?" I asked. She hesitated for half a second too long. "Yes, really long." She went straight to the shower. I waited until I heard the water running, then glanced toward the laundry hamper. A tiny piece of red fabric caught my eye, a lace. Definitely not something she wore to work. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to breathe. It could have been from last week, last month, anything. When she came out of the bathroom wearing an oversized shirt and avoiding my gaze, I swallowed, every question building in my throat. I was afraid of the answer, afraid of the truth I already sensed forming in the shadows behind her silence. But the universe didn't wait for me to gather courage. The next evening, everything unraveled. She was in the living room, her phone in her hand, her expression soft in a way she hadn't looked at me in months. A small, shy smile touched her lips, the kind of smile a woman makes when she's reading a message from someone she desperately wants to see again, someone who makes her feel alive. I walked toward her slowly. "Who are you texting?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She jolted, clutching the phone to her chest. "No one, it's just work." My heart sank. Not because she lied, but because she didn't even lie well. "Emma," I said quietly, "look at me." She didn't. Her fingers dug into her phone case. Her breathing quickened. That was the moment I understood. Before she said a word. Before the confession that would come later. Before everything shattered. That was the moment I realized I wasn't losing her. I had already lost her. But the story didn't truly begin until the moment she said the words that twisted deep into my ribs. Words that would replay in my mind long after that night. "You don't have the right to question me." And from that sentence, everything collapsed. And everything started. Her words didn't just sting, they rang in my head long after she said them, echoing through the room like the sharp crack of something breaking. "You don't have the right to question me." I stared at her, stunned, because there were 1,000 responses I could have given, 1,000 ways to defend myself, to ask for the truth, to plead for honesty. But I said nothing. I couldn't. It felt like if I spoke, if I pushed any further, something inside me would shatter beyond repair. Emma stood in front of me, arms crossed, her phone still clutched in her hand like it was some fragile, precious thing, something worth protecting. Something worth lying for. I forced a breath into my lungs. "I'm not trying to interrogate you," I said softly. "I just want to know what's going on." She turned away. "Nothing is going on, but everything was going on." She walked into the kitchen, and I followed her, slower, reluctant, as though the floor had turned into thin ice and one wrong step would send me plunging into freezing water. She opened the fridge and grabbed a bottle of water, deliberately facing away from me. I saw her shoulders tremble for a brief second before she straightened herself. "Emma," I tried again, "you've been distant for weeks. You barely talk to me anymore. You come home late, you avoid me, you hide your phone." She slammed the fridge door shut so hard the magnets rattled. She spun around, her eyes blazing. I said, "Nothing is going on." Her voice was sharp, but underneath it, I heard fear. Not fear of me, not fear of conflict. Fear of exposure. Fear of being caught. My stomach twisted. "Then why are you acting like this?" She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She looked away instead, gripping the water bottle so tightly that the plastic crinkled. Her jaw clenched. Her breathing grew shallow. And in that moment, I realized something terrible. She wasn't struggling to defend the truth. She was struggling to maintain the lie. "I'm tired," she finally muttered. "I'm overwhelmed. Work is hell right now. I don't need you watching me like I'm doing something wrong." "But you are doing something wrong," I almost said, but the words stayed stuck in my throat. She brushed past me. "I'm going to bed." But she didn't. She went to the bedroom. Yes. But instead of sleeping, she turned on the lamp and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her phone with an intensity I hadn't seen from her in years. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She typed something, erased it, typed again, erased again. I watched her from the doorway. "Who is he?" I finally asked. Her body went rigid. Her hand froze. The phone dimmed in her palm. "Daniel?" She whispered, almost pleading. "Don't do this." I stepped inside the room. "Don't do what?" "Ask why my wife is acting like she's afraid of me. Why she smiles at her phone but not at me. Why she doesn't want me to touch her anymore. Why she looks guilty every time I enter the room." Her eyes filled with something, shame or anger. I couldn't tell. "Maybe both." "Please," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Just drop it." "I can't." She squeezed her eyes shut, like my persistence was unbearable. "Why? Why can't you just let it go?" "Because you're my wife. And you're slipping away." That broke something in her. Her shoulders slumped. The fake strength she'd been clinging to finally dissolved. She sat there, looking small, fragile, defeated. For a moment, I thought she was going to confess everything, that the truth would spill out in one painful avalanche. But instead she whispered, "I'm not ready." It felt like the air was sucked out of the room. "Not ready for what?" She shook her head. For this conversation, for what it means, my heart pounded. Emma, are you in love with someone else? She looked up, her eyes filled not with denial, but with devastation. I don't know, she breathed. A cold wave washed over me. She didn't deny it. She didn't say no. She didn't even hesitate. She said she didn't know, which, in her soft, trembling voice, meant yes. A quiet, terrified, fragile yes. I sank onto the bed beside her, but I didn't touch her. I didn't know if I even had that right anymore. Who is he? I asked again, barely above a whisper. She opened her mouth, but the sound that came out wasn't a name. It was a sob, a small, broken cry she tried to swallow. Tears pooled in her eyes, but she wiped them away angrily. It's not what you think, she said, but that phrase never means anything good. Then tell me what it is. She looked away. It's complicated. It always is. Silence, slow, suffocating silence. She finally stood, pacing the room like a trapped animal. Her fingers tugged at the hem of her shirt, twisting it nervously. It wasn't supposed to happen, she whispered. I didn't plan it. I didn't look for it. So it happened, I said, my voice hollow. Her breathing stuttered. Daniel, please. My vision blurred for a second, not with tears, but with a numbness I'd never felt before. A stillness, a cold clarity. How long? I asked. She covered her face with her hands. I can't do this right now. You have to. I can't, she cried, her voice cracking. I don't want to hurt you. You already did. She flinched as if I had struck her. Seconds passed, maybe minutes. She finally lowered her hands. Her face was pale, her mascara smudged. It's been a few weeks, she whispered. My chest tightened painfully. A few weeks. That lined up with every late night, every sudden shower, every guarded glance, every lie she fed me with trembling lips. My throat burned. Is he from work? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. I already knew. Something in me broke. Something quiet, something essential. The kind of break that doesn't make a sound, but you feel it reverberate through your entire body. I stood up slowly. She watched me with wide, terrified eyes. Daniel, where are you going? I need air. She took a step toward me. Please don't leave. I shook my head. I'm not leaving you. I'm just leaving this room. As if that makes a difference, she whispered, her voice full of a pain she caused herself. I walked out, closed the door behind me, pressed my back against the wall and slid down to the floor. Inside the bedroom, I heard her begin to cry softly. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, hopeless sobs. And for the first time since all this started, I didn't feel the urge to comfort her. I just felt the beginning of something dark, the beginning of truth, the beginning of the end. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. I sat on the couch in the dark, listening to the muffled hum of the refrigerator, the occasional passing car, and the quiet, broken sounds of Emma crying behind our bedroom door. Every time she sobbed, a part of me reacted, instinctively, painfully, wanting to go to her, hold her, comfort her. But that impulse was tangled with something rotten now, something poisoned, because the woman I wanted to comfort wasn't mine anymore. Not fully, not the way she used to be. At 3:12 a.m., the bedroom door opened quietly. Her bare feet padded softly across the wooden floor, hesitant, nervous. She stood at the edge of the living room, a dim silhouette illuminated only by the faint streetlight leaking through the curtains. Daniel, she whispered. I didn't respond. Not immediately. My throat felt dry, my body heavy. She stepped closer, wrapping her arms around herself. Can we talk? I stared at the wall. We already did. No, she said softly. We avoided it. Both of us. That wasn't entirely untrue. I looked up at her. Her eyes were swollen, her hair messy, her cheeks blotchy. She looked human. For the first time in weeks, she looked like the Emma I used to know, not the distant, guarded version who flinched at my touch. She sat down beside me, but she didn't try to touch me. She kept a few inches of space between us, as though she knew that crossing that invisible line would either break me or push me over an edge I wasn't ready for. Daniel. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. I closed my eyes. Why did you do it? Her breath hitched. I didn't mean to hurt you. That's not what I asked. She wiped her eyes with trembling hands. I felt empty and lost. And that still isn't what I asked. She went quiet for a moment, her fingers gripping the edge of the couch. I was lonely, she finally whispered. And someone noticed me. Someone listened. My stomach twisted. I listened. You did, she said quickly, desperately. You always did. This isn't your fault. It's mine. I changed. I stopped letting you in. I stopped talking. And when she cut herself off. When he what? I pushed. She swallowed hard. When he asked if I was okay, I broke. I told him things I should have told you. I told him things that weren't fair for him to hear. How far did it go? She hesitated. And that pose was a knife. Emma, it wasn't physical, she said instantly, almost too fast. Not yet, not yet. Those two words tore something inside me. So it was going to be, I said quietly. She didn't answer. Do you love him? No, she said. At least, I don't think I do. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm a mess. I don't even recognize myself when I think about him. It scares me. So you were going to cheat because you were scared. She flinched. I know how it sounds. It sounds like betrayal. She covered her face, crying again. I never wanted this to happen. Then why did you let it? Because I was weak, she whispered. And because he made me feel something I thought I'd lost. What did he make you feel? She hesitated. Too long wanted, she finally answered. The word was a punch to the chest. You don't feel wanted by me? I asked. She shook her head. It's not that. Daniel, you've always loved me. You've always been there. But I started feeling like you loved the version of me I used to be, not the woman I am now. And what woman are you now? I don't know, she whispered. That's the problem. I leaned forward, hands clasped together. Who is he? She didn't look at me. I won't tell you, you will. No, she said more firmly. I'm not protecting him. I'm protecting you. That's not your decision. I know, her voice softened. But I can't watch you destroy yourself trying to compare your worth to someone who doesn't matter. If he doesn't matter, then why are you crying over him? She broke again, shoulders shaking, tears falling freely. I'm crying because I broke us, she whispered. Not because of him. Silence swallowed us for several long, suffocating seconds. Finally, she whispered, I want to fix this. I stared at her, searching her face for any sign of sincerity. Any proof that the woman in front of me wasn't just afraid of losing comfort, security, familiarity. Do you? I asked quietly. Or do you just want to stop feeling guilty? She looked stunned, wounded, but she didn't deny it. I want you, she said. I want us. But you also want him. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She looked down, defeated by the truth she couldn't hide anymore. And then, unexpectedly, anger simmered inside me. Not loud, not explosive. A quiet, steady flame. So that's it, I said. You want both of us? No, she whispered. I don't know how to let go of the wrong thing. And I don't know how to find my way back to the right one. You already had the right one, I said, my voice cold. You just didn't want it anymore. She shook her head frantically. I do want you. I do. You don't want me enough. The truth hung heavy between us. She didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. She didn't even reach for me. She just cried. And something about that broke my remaining restraint. I stood up. I'm done begging you to choose me. Her eyes widened. Daniel, please. No, I said, voice steady. If you want me, you'll show me. Not with apologies. Not with tears. But with action. She got up, reaching out, but I stepped away from her touch. When you're ready to tell me the truth, I said, I'll listen. Until then, don't come to me crying because you're afraid of losing something you threw away. Her face crumpled. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? I asked. For doing it. Or for getting caught. She broke completely, collapsing onto the couch. Sobbing into her hands, I watched her for a moment, long enough to understand that she wasn't crying because she lost him. She was crying because she was finally realizing she might lose me. I walked to the hallway. "Daniel," she choked out. "Please don't leave the room." I turned back. "I'm still here," I said, "but I won't hold you together while you're tearing me apart." She sobbed harder, and I walked into the guest bedroom, closed the door behind me, and stood in the dark, feeling the slow, burning birth of something I had never felt before. Resolved. Cold, quiet, dangerous clarity, the beginning of a plan, the beginning of something she would never see coming. I woke up in the guest bedroom to the faint sound of Emma moving around the kitchen. Cabinet doors opened softly. The kettle clicked on. Water hissed as it heated. She was trying to be quiet, the kind of quiet that meant she knew she'd crossed a line too far to pretend nothing happened. I stayed in bed a few minutes, staring at the ceiling, letting the weight of the night before settle into something sharper, more defined, something useful. Pain transformed into purpose. Confusion hardened into direction. Anger cooled into a blade. If she wouldn't tell me the truth, I'd find it myself. When I finally walked out, Emma was at the table, still in yesterday's oversized sweatshirt, hands wrapped around a mug she hadn't taken a sip from. She looked up the moment she heard me. "Good morning," she whispered, voice raw. I nodded but said nothing. "I made coffee. If you want, I'll make my own." The rejection hit her, visible in the way her shoulders dropped, but she didn't comment. She watched me the way someone watches a wounded animal, worried, careful, unsure if it'll snap or collapse. She didn't ask if I slept well. She didn't pretend things were normal. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't trying to hide behind politeness. I poured my coffee, sat at the opposite end of the table. The distance between us felt deliberate, necessary. After a moment, she whispered, "Are you angry with me?" I took a slow sip. "Shouldn't I be?" She nodded, tears forming again. I hated how easily she cried now, as if her tears were supposed to prove something, as if they were currency she thought could buy forgiveness. But tears don't fix betrayal. "I don't want to lose you," she said quietly. "You already lost parts of me," I replied. "You just don't know which ones yet." She covered her mouth like the words physically hurt her. Maybe they did. It didn't matter. I stood. "I need to go out for a few hours." "Where?" she asked quickly, panicked. "Does it matter?" "It does to me." I met her eyes. "Good." I left without another word. The moment the door closed behind me, the world felt clearer, sharper. The winter air outside bit at my face, but it woke me up in a way nothing else could. I got in the car, started the engine, and drove, not to work, not to a friend, but to the one place I knew she hadn't considered: her own lies, her routine, her patterns. Emma wasn't creative when it came to hiding things. She relied on emotions, impulses, not strategy. If she'd been meeting him, or messaging him, or whatever this emotional affair had been, she would have left crumbs. People always do. I drove to the small cafe near her office, the one she claimed she visited only when she had a rough day. I parked across the street and watched. 30 minutes later, I walked in, ordered nothing, and took a seat near the back. A few of the baristas recognized Emma. Their eyes lingered on me, curious. Good. I approached the counter casually. "Hey," I said to the barista with the short blonde hair. "My wife comes here a lot." Emma Carter. Dark hair, green eyes. "Does she usually come alone?" Her expression revealed everything before she spoke. "I'm not supposed to, please," I said, lowering my voice. "I'm not angry at anyone here. I'm just trying to understand something important." The girl hesitated, then leaned closer. "She usually comes with a guy. Tall, dark hair, glasses. He works, I think, in the same building. They always sit at the corner table." My pulse throbbed slowly, but my face stayed calm. "Do you know his name?" "No, but they come here a lot. Almost every week, sometimes more." "Do they look friendly?" I asked, careful with my words. The barista bit her lip. It looked like more than friendly. I nodded. Thank you. I walked out. And for the first time, I had something solid. The faceless man wasn't entirely faceless anymore. Tall, dark hair, glasses, sane building, a pattern, a place, not fantasy, not imagination. Real. I didn't go home. Not yet. I drove downtown to Emma's office building, parking where I had a clear view of the entrance. I waited for minutes, then an hour, then longer. Faces came and went. People talked, laughed, hurried in and out. Eventually, I saw him. I didn't even need confirmation. The way he walked, the way he scanned the street, the nervous energy of someone afraid to be seen, it told me everything. Tall, dark hair, glasses. I watched him go inside. My fist tightened around the steering wheel, knuckles whitening, but I didn't confront him. Not yet. I wanted to know who he was, how far they'd gone, whether he felt anything for her, or if she was just another piece of validation for a man who couldn't get it anywhere else. Instead, I followed him home an hour later. His apartment was small, third floor, brick building. He lived alone. I sat in the car outside his place, studying the windows, memorizing the layout, learning his habits in minutes. Some people take weeks to figure things out. I only needed intention. Eventually I drove back. When I entered the house, Emma was sitting on the floor, back against the couch, staring blankly into nothing. She stood the moment she heard me. Where were you? She whispered. Double quotes. Thinking, about what? Us? She swallowed hard. Daniel, I want to tell you everything. I want to be honest. I'm scared. Of what? Of losing you. You should be. Her breath trembled. But I don't want you to tell me, I continued. She blinked, confused. You don't know, I said. I'll find out myself. Fear filled her eyes instantly. Daniel, please. Don't do anything reckless. You don't get to warn me, I said. You don't get to guide me. You don't get to control the damage anymore. She covered her mouth as tears fell. Daniel, please. I stepped closer. Tell me one thing, I said softly. And be honest. She nodded, terrified. If I hadn't found out, would you have ended it with him? She froze. Her silence was my answer. It would have become physical, I said quietly. She broke into sobs, collapsing onto the floor like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. I'm sorry, she choked out. Please don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said. And it was the truth. I just don't trust you. She looked up at me with broken eyes. What happens now? I exhaled slowly. Now, I said. Now I decide what you're worth. Her face crumpled with devastation, and I walked past her. For the first time, she understood. She wasn't the one in control anymore. I was. The next morning felt unnaturally quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't come from peace, but from a house waiting to explode. Emma barely slept. I could tell by the swollen redness under her eyes. The way she moved slowly, as if every step carried the weight of what she'd done. I didn't comfort her. I didn't approach her. I didn't touch her, not out of cruelty, but because something inside me had shifted permanently. Love doesn't die in an instant. Trust does. And once trust dies, everything else becomes a negotiation with ghosts. She watched me carefully as I poured myself coffee, waiting, measuring, afraid of what I might say, or what I might already know. Daniel, she whispered, please, talk to me. I stirred my coffee slowly. You don't want to hear what I have to say. I do. I want to fix this. I want to fight for us. You didn't fight for us when it mattered. Her breath caught. I made a mistake. No, I said, setting the mug down. You made a choice. Don't insult me by calling it a mistake. She covered her mouth, tears already forming again. Always tears. I wondered if she cried for me, or for the version of herself she destroyed. I leaned against the counter, crossing my arms. Tell me his name. Her eyes widened in panic. Daniel, please, tell me his name. She shook her head violently. It won't help. It'll just his name. Silence stretched between us like razor wire. Finally, she whispered, Mark. I repeated it in my head. Mark. Simple, forgettable, a man whose face I had already memorized. Last name, I asked, but she hesitated. Then, Reynolds, Mark Reynolds. Marketing department, third floor, apartment 3B. Drinks black coffee. Leaves work at 6:40 on the dot. Nervous walk, avoids eye contact. A man who gets too attached too quickly. I could see it in the way he looked around the street, like he expected punishment, and he would receive it. Daniel, Emma stepped closer, desperation tightening her voice. Please don't do anything. I'll fix this. I'll end everything. I swear to you, you already ended everything, I said quietly. She flinched like I hit her. I want to talk to him, I said. No. She reached for my arm, but I pulled away. Please, Daniel, don't involve him. Don't give him power over this. He already had power over this, I said, because you handed it to him. Her voice cracked. I regret it. I wish I could undo it. You can't, I replied, but I can respond to it. She folded onto the chair, burying her face in trembling hands. I watched her crumble, but no part of me moved to help, not anymore. I grabbed my jacket and walked toward the door. Daniel, please, she cried. Please don't go to him. I paused, hand on the doorknob. I'm not going to him, I said. She froze. Then where? To the truth. And I left. I drove downtown again, but not to his apartment this time. I went to Emma's office building. I parked in the same spot, letting the engine run as I stared at the glass doors. I wanted to understand the man, not to fight him, not to threaten him. I needed to see what Emma saw in him. What she needed so badly that she risked everything. At 8:53 a.m., Mark walked into the building, same stiff posture, same anxious glance over his shoulder. A man waiting to be exposed. Good. At noon, I walked in myself. The receptionist looked up politely. Can I help you? I'm here to see Mark Reynolds. Marketing. And your name? Daniel Carter. She typed quickly, then paused, her expression shifting. She gave a small, uncomfortable nod. One moment, Mr. Carter. Moments later, Mark stepped off the elevator. His face drained the second he saw me. Fear, genuine, visceral fear, the kind only a guilty man feels. Daniel, office, I said, turning. He followed. The moment the door closed behind us, he began talking too fast. Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for anything to happen. It just, she told me your marriage was falling apart. I thought it was okay. I thought she was unhappy. You thought wrong. He swallowed. Did you sleep with her? I asked. His eyes widened. No, I swear. We didn't. Did you want to? Silence. I stepped closer. Did you? He exhaled shakily. Yes. And did she want to? He looked at the floor. That's what I thought. He backed away slightly as I approached, but I didn't raise my hand. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. Violence is easy. Fear is easier. But the thing that breaks a person, truly breaks them, is truth spoken plainly. You didn't steal her from me, I said. She offered herself to you. His breath hitched. You thought she loved you. She didn't. You were an escape, a fantasy, someone to pour her frustrations into. Someone to give her the thrill she thinks she deserves. He closed his eyes like the words were knives. You were never her future, I said, just her distraction. He looked destroyed, but I wasn't finished. End it, I said. Today? Tell her you want no contact. Tell her you don't love her. Tell her you made a mistake. He nodded quickly. I will, I swear I will. Good, I said, because if you don't, I'll come back, and next time we won't talk. His fear spiked instantly. I left. When I got home, Emma was pacing the living room, mascara smudged, hair a mess, eyes swollen. She rushed toward me the second the door opened. Where were you? She cried. I was terrified. Mark will end it, I said calmly. He'll tell you himself. She froze, horror spreading across her face. Oh my God, Daniel, what did you do? Nothing illegal, I said. Just honest. She grabbed my shirt, sobbing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I gently removed her hands. I'm sure you are. She trembled. Does this mean you'll give us a chance? I looked at her for a long time. I don't know yet. But you haven't left, she whispered. No, I said, not yet. She fell into my arms, and for the first time, I let her, not because things were better, not because trust was restored, but because I wanted her to feel the weight of almost losing me, and because I wasn't finished deciding what she would lose next.